Hello, brave Scythian servants of the Three Empires. We're releasing today episode 6. Just a brief warning. Accidentally, the sound quality got a bit roughed up, so the episode kind of ends a tad abruptly. Also, this episode contains the first ever Three Empires book recommendation. Stay tuned for a special announcement. Next week, we're going to be heading into the Tournament of Champions. So, strap on in. Let's get into it.
You are now entering the Three Empires podcast. By far the most dastardly and majestic political system in all the land. With your hosts, Shahob and Stefano.
So,
all is lost.
Apologies for the lack of video. We are having some technical difficulties with the video, which should be up and running in no time. In the meantime, we're going to begin with our book recommendation segment, which is a little something we've discussed. We can bring some of the Three Empires knowledge to your living room. I mean, that would be kick-ass. So, this week, we're going to recommend Great Military Blunders by Geoffrey Reagan. History's worst battlefield decisions from ancient times to the present day. Now,
great book, by the way. Super awesome read.
Awesome. I'd put this in the classification of toilet reader almost, because It's got these short little 2-3 page segments detailing one particular battle.
Yep.
And instead of going chronologically, this book groups it into segments of blunders because of lack of intelligence, blunders because lack of planning, blunders because generals were too ambitious. And it's cool because you get to draw parallels between generals throughout history. And it's one of those where it took me a while to read just because you can just pretty much pick it up wherever you are, sitting on the toilet. You have a couple of minutes, you get a quick little story.
And that doesn't go into too much detail. It does a really good job of summarizing the actual battle itself, as well as detailing pretty much exactly what went wrong for specific sides. And it's actually super entertaining for that particular reason.
100%. I would say it's great for anybody who's kind of looking for an introduction into history. And I'd say it's just as good for the experienced historical reader who's just looking to explore new periods. So
absolutely.
That is our book recommendation of the week. Sweet sauce. So, we are here today to convert you, faithful audience, to Mormonism.
Please. We're true believers of the Church of the Three Empires.
Well, I had a deathbed conversion last night.
Did you know?
Elohim, the Mormon God, came to me. And the douchey Mormon Jesus. Soon when we have a better technical setup, we'll be able to show you guys video. But there's this Mormon cartoon I showed Shahob with... it just kind of details the mythology of Mormonism.
The whole thing's on YouTube, so I'll definitely place a link in the description because it is so much fun and you guys absolutely have to watch it. It does a brilliant job detailing everything that the Mormon Church truly believes in, basically on the, Christian chronological scale. So, from creation to about now. And it's awesome. It's so much fun. It's so ridiculous.
Oh, it's amazing.
And it's got that, what's awesome about that? It's got like this weird 1970s, 1960s cartoon-esque feel.
Those weird 70s animations.
Yeah.
Where, like everyone's too fluid yet too stiff at the same
time. Exactly. It's the weirdest thing. It's like He-Man almost, but for like that type of shit.
Literally.
It's so weird. I love it though, only because it does exactly what Masters of the Universe did. It's basically detailing this weird, extremely out of this world story with very odd characters, and basically tries to tell a story for the sake of converts. And I guess it's sort of like aimed at children, right? This whole cartoon is meant to ensure that children follow the line, and hey, cartoons are a good way to do it.
Yeah, honestly. And I'm not going to lie, the Mormon heaven is probably the best idea.
Probably. Honestly, yeah.
The Christian heaven, I'm not going to lie, growing up in Catholic school, I'm like, wow, okay, this is fucking lame. So we just endlessly praise you for all eternity in heaven?
I'd imagine that would be really boring after a while.
You get to be a part of God. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Like, no, the Mormons say you get to be a fucking god. You get your own planet.
And you get to have endless celestial sex with other goddesses.
Hold on, not regular sex. Celestial sex.
And that's word for word quote, by the way.
Endless celestial sex.
The people who are Mormons, the men specifically, this is a very patriarchal faith, let's not get ahead of ourselves, they will have endless celestial sex on their own planet as gods. How can you not want to convert to that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sign me up. Yeah, well, I mean, if you're a woman or you're black, I mean.
Right. Interesting thing about that. The Mormon faith teaches that, I can't remember how the Negro race was created. They say that, by the way. I'm not saying that.
I can tell
They have the explanation for the creation of the Negro race, quote unquote. So, Stefano, take it away, buddy.
So, oh, by the way, we might even do an alcohol of the week. I don't know. That would be good.
That'd be cool, yeah. Fuck yeah.
Well, let us know. Let us know in the comments if we should start that segment. But, yeah, so this is how black people were created, according to Mormons. And up until very recently, this was like codified Mormon doctrine. And I think along with the civil rights movement, they're like, maybe we should take out the part about the black people. Guys are equal now. So the Mormons believe that Jesus, and in the Mormon cartoon, Jesus looks so fucking douchey. I've never wanted to punch Jesus so much in my life. So
I've repeatedly wanted to punch Jesus.
So there's Mormon Jesus and Satan, and they have a battle for the souls of humanity.
Oh, by the way, in this version, they're brothers. They're actually related. They're both. Satan is not the devil necessarily, but Satan is the name of one of the gods of Elohim. It's one of the sons, rather, of Elohim, and Jesus is the other son. Yeah. So they're brothers. They're not like mirror opposites. No, they're literal brothers.
They came from the same nutsack.
Basically.
So, basically, all the humans that sided with Jesus retain their white skin and blue eyes.
Oh boy!
And all the humans that sided with the devil became demons, right? And they couldn't have corporeal bodies. But all the humans who remained, it's good, right? Georgian wine, guys. Shout out to Roman Dombrowski.
Very nice.
All the humans that remained neutral in the fight between good and evil were cursed with black skin. So I guess that's their explanation for, like, at the time explaining, like, you know, Mormonism's created in the early 1800s. Still slavery going on. Like,
absolutely.
What's these people's lot in life, son? Well, they're cursed with black skin and slavery because they were neutral in the battle between.
Oh, and I do believe, as far as the actual edicts of Mormonism goes, that black people are, because of their neutrality, because they dare not to pick a side, they were essentially cursed to forever be the servants of the ones who sided with Jesus. And that's the literal definition, the explanation for Mormons and the Negro race, as they love to say.
See that? Fucking you agnostic fence sitters. Huh? If you don't pick a side, you're going to be black.
Apparently. How dare you? How dare you be critical and try to think things through for yourself, rather than pick a side of two arbitrary conflicts.
Heathen atheists such as myself will at least get to become demons.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I'd love to be a demon. Why wouldn't anybody want to be a demon? You get to be a superpowered, devil-winged beast of monstrosity and destruction. Sounds like fun to me.
What depictions of demons do you think are some of the most badass? What are your favorite? There's so many good ones.
There's a lot of good ones, yeah. Mm-hmm. Personally, I really do like the ones in Islam, because those demons are specifically made out of elements, for the most part. The jinn, exactly. They have wind jinn, fire jinn, lots of really powerful jinn, and there's also the liquid jinn, which we're currently drinking.
Taking shots of that jinn.
Yep, great jinn.
There's Tanqueray jinn, fire jinn, yeah.
Those are really cool, actually, and I do like, for the most part, I think Christianity and Islam do a really good job as to depicting the two sides of that little coin, because on one side you have the demons, who are all these monstrously powerful creatures of destruction and mayhem and blah, blah, blah. Where on the other side, you have the angels, and all of them have names, at least the really powerful ones. The archangels, as they put it, they have armor, they have swords, and they're all really powerful. And honestly, were I a teenager, this would have been the perfect sort of material to lure people, especially teenagers who are really into that type of thing, into the faith. Unfortunately, I guess I was fortunate enough to avoid most of that.
Why don't they, that should be the side of the religion that they proselytize, like, hey, you guys like Lord of the Rings? Well, guess what? Look at the Archangel Michael. Look at his plated armor.
Exactly.
Look at his fucking badass sword.
Yeah. Like, this is really awesome. Like, you guys like this? Well, we have an even better version of Tolkien's books, man. Like, it's right there.
Read the book. Yeah, the other day, like, someone asked me, does it bother you that... Because Narnia, for me, was my favorite series of books as a kid.
Fantastic series of books. Oh, my God.
I've read Narnia maybe about the whole 7 books, maybe 7-8 times. Yeah, just for me. And then someone's like, oh, doesn't it bother you that it's derivative from the Bible? And I thought about it, I'm like, no, it doesn't bother me that my fiction was derived from other fiction.
No, not at all. Exactly.
The Bible is, if you just take it as fiction, there's some great stories in there. There's some what the fuck hilarious moments, but like, I don't know. I think you, at a certain point, you can just disassociate the impact that it has on Western society and just look at it as mythologies. Like, I love reading Greek mythology as well. You know?
I completely agree. And talking about the Bible, talking about the kind of mythology that you can find within the Bible, there is one fantastic learning tool within the Bible, and that is the story of the Tower of Babel. I think it's possibly one of my favorite bits of mythology ever written, only because it teaches us that the collective hubris of man, coming together to be able to create something so massive that we want to be in touch with God, and then God destroying it, and then therefore spreading all of humanity across the planet. It carries so many messages. There's so many things you can unpack from that one story. Sure. And yet people, well, not everybody, but there are a great deal of religious folks, many people who belong to several faiths, who take this story and say, no, that's exactly what happened. You're not supposed to take anything else from it. That is literally what happened.
Right.
And that is ludicrous.
It's ludicrous. It's bizarre. You know what? I think the Tower of Babel kind of reflects a theme that's very present throughout the Bible. The Israelites try and get too close to God, too close to the nature of God, too close to trying to be divine, and they get struck down, right? And part of it you can think of, like I like to think of as, it's just their way of explaining disasters of the Israelite people. Like, oh, we strayed away from God, and that is why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like an ancient people's trying to justify their lot in life. But yeah, there's also definitely...
And it's also a great explanation as to how, there are people from one tribe who live in one geographical location. How is it that people from a different geographical location live in that part of the world? Right. Well, because, we were all at one point at the same place at the same time, built the tower, God destroyed it, then we all spread out.
Yeah, and that's the thing about mythology.
Great mythology.
Yeah, that's the thing about mythology that I find cool. Like, yes, 100%, this was a literalist interpretation at point. People actually believe this is how we got different races around the earth. It is. And I hate when people are like, oh, no, people didn't really believe in X, Y, and Z. No, they believe in X, Y, and Z. They believe the Greek mixed with reality. They believe these were the methods from which people explain the universe. But also, as you said, even though we know they're not true today, sure, there's some things in the Bible that are morally reprehensible. I agree. And then there's other things that you can definitely unpack and say, well, that's a cool story. There's some wisdom to be had in there. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of people such as Jordan Peterson. I'm a fan of Jordan Peterson, but I'm not a fan of him like, oh yeah, the Bible is the ultimate moral guide for Western civilization. It's not, right?
Wait. He says that?
Not in so many words, but he definitely upholds the Bible as a book of moral wisdom, which it isn't,
Huh. That I did not expect. How interesting.
Yeah, and he's a weird guy in a lot of ways.
To think that the man's opinions, and yet he'd have some sort of religious... not fervor, perhaps, but definitely some sort of adherence to religion. That's a little surprising.
Yeah, I can see the perspective that he's coming from it because, my girlfriend kind of, in psychology, kind of studied a similar field of unpacking mythology and stories for, like, truisms about human nature.
Right.
And it's like it's a very interesting, expanding field, so there's a lot of it on that side.
Oh, I'd imagine.
But I think he walks a very fine line sometimes between, like, that and, like, hey, look, there's moral wisdom to be had in the Bible. Which there's some, but as a moral guide, like, it's reprehensible.
Oof, reprehensible is putting it lightly, I'd say.
Yeah, one of my favorite, since we're talking about Bible stories, one of my favorite Bible stories, I don't know if I told this on the religion episode, but this is one of my favorite Bible stories of all time. because of the sheer ludicrousness of it. Do you know about the story of Jacob and Israel?
Yes, I do. In fact, yeah.
You mind if I tell it?
By all means.
So, this is how Jacob got his name changed to Israel. So, Jacob, he's just a normal guy wandering through the desert one day, and all of a sudden, it's not made clear whether this is an angel or it's God. Pops out of the bushes, and he's like, wrestle me! Jacob's
God.
No, get away, you crazy lunatic. I don't want to wrestle you. And he's like, you and I are going to fight.
Oh, my goodness.
And he's like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. And so they have a wrestling match all night, right? Literally, from sunset to sunrise, Jacob's wrestling with this angel. I don't know how homoerotic this was intended to be, but him and this angel, or God, it's not specified, are just having this wrestling match. And at one point, the angel gets so frustrated, he tries an illegal move. I'm not sure what illegal move it would have been, but it's stated he tries an illegal move and pops Jacob's hip out of place. And Jacob's like, all right, well, fuck you then. He puts the angel, or God, in a headlock. He's like, just tap out, bro. It's not worth it. Tap out. The angel's like, I'm not going to tap out. I'm not going to tap out. And then Jacob's like, bro, just fucking tap out. Just tap out. And the angel's like, okay, tap out. I tap out. I give up. And then afterwards, they're sitting there, and the way I picture it, they're both breathing heavily, like, it was good, bro. It's a good match. And then this angel disguised as a wild man is like, I'm going to give you the name Israel now. You're going to be known as Israel, which literally translates to one who struggles with God, right? Or one who wrestles with God. So, in my view, the way I like to look at this is either Jacob made the whole thing up to excuse his limp. He tripped on a table leg or something, and that's how he got his limp. Or some crazy dude in ancient Israel jumped out of the bushes claiming to be an angel. And him and Jacob had a wrestling match. And then the guy, after he lost, is like, oh, you're pretty good, bro. Best guy I've surprise wrestled in the desert. All right, you're Israel. All right, I'm out. Peace.
And we'll be right back with Bible Stories by Stefan Hosko.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
That's one of my favorites.
Well, I don't think I've ever heard that story told exactly like that, but no, that was actually way more entertaining than every other version I've ever heard.
Dude, bring me to Sunday schools. You won't have a single fucking apostate. I'll tell the stories as they were meant to be told.
Oh, that was perfect.
Yeah.
Man. Well, yeah, talk about interesting mythology. I mean, how you had a mortal man struggling with a deified creature, God himself even, maybe. Beats the shit out of me.
God's all powerful, but he had to resort to an illegal move to pop out Jacob.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
Scumbag.
I know.
Man. I'm gonna throw some shade at God.
Exactly. Like, God, you and all your benevolence, all your just and amazingness, decide to pull an illegal move?
So petty.
Petty. Disappointment. Picture us wagging our fingers angrily at you, O Lord.
Well, I'm sure he's everywhere, so he can see.
Yeah.
He sees you when you're sleeping.
He knows when you're awake.
He knows when you're jerking off to Japanese vomit porn.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd much prefer believing in Santa Claus and his ability to know when I'm awake and know what I'm doing at all times. Because at least I get a present out of it.
Yeah. Santa Claus. When did you find out Santa Claus wasn't real, Shahob?
You know, I didn't actually... Well, I wasn't ever told. I don't necessarily remember the conclusion I came to, but I'd imagine in a way I kind of always knew he didn't exist. Because it was never something that was necessarily forced down my throat that I had to believe in. Like my parents never said that, oh yeah, you have to believe in Santa Claus. He's the one that's bringing the presents and all that. No, never really a thing for me.
This fucking guy. Like, every myth that I believed in as a kid that was just some ludicrous thing. It's like, yeah, what do you think of X, Y, and Z? And he's like, no, I was always a rational, intelligent being.
Not true.
I didn't believe in your petty myths.
Not true. I definitely remember a time when I did believe in Santa Claus and all that. But, there was a point where my brother and sister, they believed in that shit. They were unwrapping their presents. But I vividly remember a time when I unboxed one of my gifts, which was a sweet-ass Lego set, by the way. And then I saw my mother. I turned to her, making sure that my brother and sister couldn't see, and I said, X.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Not only do you know he's not real, but you're like, can't spoil the myth for my
Yeah.
sister.
And they're both so young, and I'm like
You don't want to kill
12
magic.
or 11 at some point, or
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I don't want to kill these their magic for my poor little siblings, and yeah, honestly, whether or not these sort of mythologies ever really mattered to me, especially like the ones that we grew up with as children, the Easter Bunny, even though I never believed in that shit, I can definitely guarantee you that the logic that an Easter Bunny is laying eggs never clicked for me. So I'm like, no, that's bullshit.
Chocolate eggs.
Yeah, chocolate eggs, no
So
less.
is that just Easter Bunny feces?
Apparently, we're eating Easter Bunny feces this whole time. It wasn't the Mexicans, or rather the people who lived in the Mexican country that we now call Mexico, who invented chocolate with the cocoa beans. Nope, it was the Easter Bunny.
Well, they worship the Easter Bunny, and he gave them feces, which they ate.
And thus they grew more feces. Called it cocoa for some reason.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, Tooth Fairy was another one. So I teach martial arts, right?
Mm.
And I go up to one of my students, one of my young students, and I'm like, she's like, oh yeah, I lost a tooth, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like, how much did the Tooth Fairy give you? And she's like, the Tooth Fairy gave me $50. I'm like, wow. I did like a Tim Allen noise, and her friend's like, yeah, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy gave me $100 once. I'm like, that son of a bitch trying to give me $2.
Man, the most I ever got from the Tooth Fairy was fucking $5. I remember I'm like, whoa, $5! Oh my god, what a great time that was. That I actually did believe in, actually. That I was actually very, very adamant about believing, because that was a perfectly valid thing. I'm like, alright, there goes the tooth. Wake up next morning, fucking money. Uh-huh.
Badass.
Yeah.
What do you think a Tooth Fairy would, in the Tooth Fairy mythology, does with all the teeth?
Well, I mean, from the Arthur episode, great cartoon series, by the way.
I loved Arthur.
They had that little brief explanation as to what she does with all the teeth, and like she creates a castle with it at some point. She collects them and like codifies them into like this grand library of teeth or some shit. I'm like, all right, yeah, all right, I'm okay with either of those.
That's as valid as any, I suppose.
Yeah. And those are the mythologies that we grew up with. Perfectly deconstructed for your viewing pleasure, oh listeners.
Oh, listeners. What is, good sir, I'm struggling with how to phrase this question.
But there's a question.
What is your favorite non-metal weapon?
Non-metal weapon.
Your favorite non-metal weapon?
Oh, it's easy, actually. For me, it's actually a very easy answer.
Really?
Uh-huh. It's the weapon commonly used by the Aztecs, known as the macuitl. Now, interesting thing. My sister actually taught me this because she's studying linguistics at the University of Toronto.
Okay.
She taught me that the TL at the end of each of the Aztec words that have that isn't actually pronounced tl the way it would be in English.
Okay.
It's actually pronounced like tl. It's at the back of your yeah, you put your tongue at the front of your teeth and you make a tl sound. So it's not macuitl, it's macuitl.
It sounds like someone fucking loading a revolver.
Almost, yeah. Anyway, so that's my favorite non-metal weapon because it is orgasmic. I love that weapon so much. It's the perfect combination of wooden club and obsidian chainsaw.
Okay, well, tell for our, because we don't have video today, tell our viewers a little bit about this macuitl.
I'd love to.
Macuitl.
Macuitl.
I'm going to call it the macuitl from now on.
Asshole. So, a little bit about this weapon for those who don't know. This is a weapon that was made from a wooden plank, finished to about the kind of design you'd see from an oar, but a little elongated.
Yeah.
So it's got like it's got like a little diamond edge going onto it. So think of a wooden plank, sort of sanded on both sides to make a very thin diamond shape, and it's also got indents on the sides. So think of a plank with indents on the sides. And in these indents, you would have serrated and polished shards or sometimes full-bladed pieces of obsidian placed in them. I'd imagine the Aztecs would use a sort of tree sap for adhesive to make sure that the obsidian never fell out. Sort of like, a glue. And it had a handle, either two-handed or one-handed handle. Historians are a little iffy as to exactly what kind of armaments that the Aztec weaponry truly was. Though I'd imagine, just like with any other sword, they had a variety. So they had two-handed and one-handed macuitls. And they were essentially so effective in the field of battle that when the Spanish came to do battle with the Aztecs, it was said that one of these weapons could cut the head off a horse.
Yeah.
Very impressive, very mythological almost. But that was actually, I'm not a huge fan of this show, but a show called Deadliest Warrior, for those who remember, did a segment about the Aztecs.
Warrior.
Yeah, not a very big fan of that
If
show.
we add up these 3 weapons, it'll tell us everything we need to know about each warrior. Over here, we got a weapon. It's Dr. Armadorian.
Oh, what a stupid show. Anyway, they did do a really sweet-ass test where the Aztec expert took a macuatl, a pretty rough-looking version of a macuatl, by the way, and they took it to like this mock horse carcass-looking thing, but it was all made of gel. So it like mimicked like the density and the structure of a horse head.
We got a ballistic
Exactly.
gel horse.
Like, where the fuck they do that?
Blood. Defenseless. Now we're gonna club it to death.
And it works. The fucking thing cut the head off a horse, and that was really awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, if I could add to the description a little, you know those paddles that you typically see in like porn and shit. If somebody's getting spanked, those big wooden paddles. Shahob's shaking his head. Or like frat initiations. You know what I mean? Those big long paddles. Yeah, picture that, but with serrated obsidian teeth. And it's
You know what? Honestly, yeah, it kind of looks like that. I'm not gonna
Does
lie.
it not?
A little.
Motherfucker.
It actually does kind of look like that.
Now, the advantage of this weapon, what I heard, is obsidian extremely sharp.
Absolutely.
And the thing about okay, well, I'll get into that after. Obsidian extremely sharp, but extremely brittle.
Mhm.
So what I read about this is that as far as the obsidian goes, it's more or less a one-strike weapon. You can decapitate a horse with it, but the obsidian's going to be mostly shattered afterwards.
Absolutely.
So after, you can use it more or less like a club.
Mhm.
Not as effective without the obsidian, but still deadly. And one thing that's interesting kind of note, that, you know, was always a misconception that I carried about wooden weapons, is wooden weapon or non-metal weapon from Stone Age cultures doesn't necessarily mean primitive.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, if you've got warlike cultures using wooden weapons, what usually that means is that these cultures have had no steel, no bronze, no nothing, no metals to mine, right?
Nope.
So they've had to find the most intricate ways to use this wood and stone and craft it into a device that's going to be effective at killing, right? As good as steel or steel weapons or a sword or a halberd, no. But effective? Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
My favorite is this Maori club.
Ooh,
And
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Right? I've heard it called like a nipple club. Because, just as a joke, because it's got this big round ball and this one wooden spike sticking out of the end, right?
Oh.
And it's curved. It's curved. It's almost shaped like a J. It's got this big wooden ball on the end.
Oh.
Yeah. This thing could carry weight to it. And
So it's more of a hammer than anything else.
it's kind of like a hammer. Yeah, it's like a hammer or a club.
Badass.
And yeah, the shaft itself had flex to it. So when you would swing it, it would deform and just bam, you know?
Ooh.
Yeah. These things are deadly. Make no mistake about it. Like these tribes have been living here for tens of thousands of years. Chances are they found the most effective ways to kill each other with
whatever they had.
with wood and stone.
Very
Yeah.
much so.
So don't think of it as primitive necessarily. Think of it as the best ways that you can develop to kill another human being with wood and stone. So it's like a limited rule set, but incredibly effective within that limited rule set.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sense.
100%.
Yeah.
And talking about Maori weapons, they had one very effective weapon. It's very similar to the macuatl in many respects, called the taiaha. And it was very much, a long stick that was also shaped like a paddle, but on the end of it, it had a stone. And as far as I could tell, it was a very strong kind of stone, sort of like jade almost. It was green colored. And this was like the trademark of the taiaha.
May have been jade, may have been marble. I know what you're
Something
talking
like
about.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's again, talking about wooden weapons being effective at killing another human being.
Fucking
Look no further.
Beautiful too. Those clubs
Oh, yeah.
with the jade on them.
Very intricate.
Oh man, gorgeous weapons as well.
100%. Yeah, talk about the Maori culture and their warlike tendencies. Very interesting people to research.
Very interesting, yeah. And one of the last explored areas by European civilizations as well.
Yes, it was.
Once Europe reached that area, pretty crazy period in history, because it's fairly late. We're talking like mid to late 1800s, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Of interactions with Maoris, and there's actually an event in history called the Maori Wars, right?
It was.
One tribe of Maori was armed by the British with muskets, and the other side were just fighting with their, standard technology. And, well, I mean, we saw how that went.
Yes. It's interesting. One of the worst, well, I think worst is a little up for debate, but one of the most interesting things that history has given us is exactly what indigenous peoples do when European explorers come to their lands with this advanced technology and decide to do trade with them. And how these individual tribes and peoples manage to utilize these weapons for the sake of dominating each other.
Truly a clash of cultures, yeah. That's the thing about, at least on the North American continent, where I know most about how geopolitical interactions went between European powers and Native Americans at the time. It's not as we think of it as, there were united Native American peoples. There were different rival nations of people who were as likely to side with the Europeans as against them. For
Yes.
a long period of time, the geopolitical situation was, France versus England, and France with their Iroquois allies, and England with their
with their Wendat allies.
Yeah. So it's fascinating, and it's definitely, history becomes very politicized, and I think this is one of the areas of history in which we become very, very, very politicized. But the truth is, honestly, it's a lot more gradated than we like to give it credit for, especially. Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Talking about the history of the continent that we're currently residing in, tumultuous one. Fraught with conflict, fraught with a great deal of bloodshed, interestingly enough. Mainly on the backs of the Aboriginal peoples who resided here so long before. And then to see how they're treated today. A different discussion altogether. This is something we have to devote a great deal of time to in a later podcast. But just as a mention.
It's a complicated situation as well, and one that I don't think there's an immediate solution to.
No.
But I will say this. Man, do I want to get into this? Do I want to state this controversial opinion? I'll hold off on it.
A wise decision.
For an episode where we talk about this topic more in depth. I do a little research. I don't want to come up saying it's full.
100%, yeah. This is something that we definitely need to devote more research and definitely more time to putting together.
Let us know if you're interested in an episode in the history of Aboriginal subjugation on the North American continent. Because I think it's a fascinating one, and it's a story that needs to be told.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
What I was going to ask you, to go back to Deadliest Warrior. What for you was the most egregious episode of Deadliest Warrior that you saw and you're like, okay, motherfucker, no. Like, this really, seriously.
There are a lot of those. That's the problem. A lot of them made no sense.
What was the worst you could remember? If it's the same as me,
I think for me, the one that definitely made me the most angry was the one where Genghis Khan or some random Mongol was being pitted against a Comanche warrior of some sort.
Was it Genghis Khan versus Comanche?
It was just like Mongols versus Comanche, something of the sort. It was something that was very specifically Mongol versus something very specifically North American. And it was the dumbest goddamn episode I've ever seen. And only from a technological standpoint from these two different civilizations. You had one civilization who was definitely coming in with little more than stone, weapons, and armor, and leather and everything else attributed towards a Stone Age society, versus a civilization that has been embroiled in war its entire existence using very obviously steel weapons and armor. And to have them lose against the Comanche, it made no sense. I couldn't possibly wrap my head around it.
So it wasn't Genghis Khan versus Hannibal. French Foreign Legion, Ivan the Terrible, Hernan Cortez, Crazy Horse Punch with Villa. Let me see. View 21 more. Okay, Gingo.
Yeah, but that one really pissed me off as well. Another one that really pissed me off was like the season finale for their first season or second season or something, where they had the Spartan versus the samurai.
Oh, let me. I'm curious. I want to figure out this one that you're talking about because I seem to remember it. What? Season 2, maybe. It's season 2, right?
I believe so.
Oh, Comanche versus Mongol. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did the Comanche win?
Yep.
Like that makes no sense to me.
Nope.
I mean, I'm not. Comanche had military prowess, right? Great at ambushes, masters of the plains. But I'm sorry, the Mongols were able to defeat better armored opponents over a larger span of time, more advanced opponents, and they had a massive conquest spanning from Korea to modern-day Hungary. It makes zero sense at all. The prowess of the steppe peoples was so great that we wouldn't find the settled peoples wouldn't find a proper way to deal with them until the advent of gunpowder. So to tell me that a less armored opponent with a similar form of warfare would stand a shot,
even though
it's fucking preposterous.
It's not even that it had a similar form of warfare. It had lower technology. The Comanche were going into the battle with stone weapons.
Stone weapons.
How the fuck do you manage to beat them when they have steel? It just doesn't make any sense. That is one thing that show has repeatedly failed to mention, is the difference in technology.
Technology, tactics. Literally, this is the show.
So, we got those ballistics Jones on me, and we're gonna hit it a couple times. Ah, look, there's some blood. Okay, this warrior wins. Like,
essentially.
They equate power with martial skill. Like, for me, one of the most egregious episodes I can remember, and I'm from Italian heritage, right? They put...
Oh, Roman Legion? No, Mafia for you.
Mafia versus
Yakuza. Yeah.
And they pitted the nunchuck against the baseball bat. And they're like,
well, the baseball bat had more force. Okay, we're gonna go with this one.
Like, no, I'm sorry. There's more to a weapon has more force than to... the baseball bat's an ineffective weapon. You have one large swing. It's a big wooden club. You miss. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're far out of range and exposed. There's more than just how much power you can generate with a strike. And that episode was particularly bullshit because, I mean, the Mafia, and I'll be the first to admit this, are businessmen with guns. They're not warriors. They'll conduct hits when they have to, right?
Exactly.
The Yakuza were trained. They were trained in various martial disciplines. Yeah, I don't know. That for me was a bit, was a ridiculous episode.
No, I completely agree. A lot of it has a great deal of lots of ridiculous bullcrap in that show. But I guess it's not necessarily supposed to be taken as a historically accurate show because, for the most part, it's absolutely fucking not. It's meant to be taken as a show specifically for entertainment. And for God's sake, it's on Spike TV. That's all they work with.
Spike TV, yeah.
So, yeah. That's all they do. It's just mindless entertainment for the masses.
Which doesn't exist anymore, by the way.
Thank God.
It got switched to Paramount Network, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, when the Spike Network was on top of the world, they had shows like Deadliest Warrior as their big landmarks. And for me, I actually really enjoyed that show when it was airing, and I was much younger. When I was 13 years old, I loved that show. When I got older and I managed to learn more about what they were talking about, I'm like, no, this is ludicrous. All of this is ludicrous.
The third season was a little bit better because I feel like they started taking into account more variables. They got that bald American Marine on, you know? And, it started to get a little better, and then they ended it.
Right.
And someone's like, well, there just aren't enough people. They couldn't do... fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you and your shit.
Didn't they end the show with, like, a really weird sort of fight?
Vampire versus zombie.
Yeah, that's what they ended the show with.
Why?
I don't know.
And they're like, oh, so we're going to get this Rottweiler to bite this carcass because that's similar to, like, an unrestrained human bite.
Or something.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so that's Deadliest Warrior in a nutshell, and our opinions of it. Not very big fans. I was a very big fan until I reached a level of education where I found it all complete asinine.
Okay, here's the thing. As a concept, I felt like it was awesome.
Yeah, as a concept, it's a great concept.
And that's why we're going to be doing our own little Deadliest Warrior type tournaments. Now,
only in a way that has nothing to do with 1-on-1 or 5v5 or whatever the fuck they came up with. Nothing of the sort.
We don't. I'll tell you what we don't have. Let's be honest. We don't have some bald Marine
No.
We don't have Dr. Armandorian.
No.
We don't have some obnoxious guy named Max who's going to punch things into an advanced computer simulation and a bunch of gel torsos and wow, look at that flatter. Like, no, we don't have any of that. But what we do have is intelligence. And what we do have is the ability to assess military commanders for who they are. And that's why the next episode we're going to do is going to be on the greatest generals of all time. 8 generals, an 8-man tournament to see who is the greatest general out of this one particular bracket.
And that's our brilliant segue into our next segment. This is going to be absolutely freaking awesome because we are pitting 8 generals, varying degrees of ethnicities, genders, even backgrounds, and technological advancements, pitting them against one another and and seeing which of them is indeed the greatest. And of course,
different map each time.
Yes.
Different map each time. So that terrain affects warfare, right? And each warrior gets the army that they had at the height, right? What was the greatest height of, well, you know what? Should we throw them a little jizz? Let's give them, let's give them 2 names. What do you say?
I think it's a great idea.
All right, I'm going to grab my booklet. I don't need to grab my booklet. The 2 names I'm going to reveal for this tournament. Number 1, Scipio Africanus, the greatest Roman general, possibly the greatest general of all time. Roma Invicta! Fighting with the army that he used to take down Hannibal at the Battle of Zama. Shahab, would you care to unveil another one of our...
Let's see.
Who should we reveal?
One of my favorites in our little bracket. Well, I think it's appropriate to mention that we have brought with us possibly one of the greatest military strategists, military conquerors, even so great that he managed to create a dynasty bearing his name.
Oh my, who could you be referring to, good sir? Such a general to enter our tournament? To come back to life and grace us with his presence? Who could it be?
His name was Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. And this man was the scourge of all Christian crusaders throughout the Holy Land and beyond. This man was the very definition of their nightmares. And he is going to grace us in our brackets and see, with the army that he defeated, well, besides the army that he took with him to combat the legendary King Alec Baldwin. No, Alec Baldwin.
King Alec Baldwin.
No. King Baldwin the Fifth of the Crusader States.
King Alec Baldwin of the Film Actors Guild. Facing off against Saladin.
A true fag.
So there you have it. Salahuddin, the great scholar turned warrior, the philosopher, the Ayyubid emperor, the man to defeat both Zengid and Crusader enemies alike, the scourge of the West against Scipio Africanus, the young upstart general from the city of Rome that brought Hannibal to his knees and ended years of Carthaginian oppression, the man to single-handedly defeat Carthage and bring an end to the Punic Wars in our tournament. And those are just 2 competitors, ladies and gentlemen.
We're definitely going to do a better job introducing them than this, by the way, so please just give us a little break. We're definitely going to do a better job of it.
Yeah, plus we have to discuss which of Saladin's armies we'll use, because the armies he fought against King Baldwin are very different from the armies that he used to fight Richard Lionheart.
That's actually very true.
So,
and very different from the armies he used to defeat Guy de Lusignan at the Battle of Herat.
Yeah, Hattin, yeah.
Hattin, that's the one.
And very, very different from the enemies he used to defeat the Zengids with as well.
That's very true, yeah.
So, yeah. Stay tuned. We'll be dropping one more name before the tournament takes place on our Instagram. It won't be coming next week because I'm going to be in Cuba next week.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So that is going to be fun. Stay tuned for that. 8 competitors. We'll let you know more about the format as the week goes on.
As well.
Should be fascinating.
Hell yeah. I'm super excited for this thing, man. It's going to be so cool because we're going to... those are just 2 of the names we managed to put together because, honestly, we found them to be the most powerful, the most strategically brilliant commanders we've ever seen throughout history. And this isn't the only tournament we're going to be doing. We've christened this officially, or perhaps unofficially. Unofficially, the Tournament of Champions.
Officially. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, this isn't going to be the only bracket we're going to be bringing to this. So, besides these 8 names, sometime in the future, we're definitely going to bring 8 more generals to the forefront.
Absolutely. You guys let us know. Like, I at least want this to be a recurring segment.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
The audience does. And yeah, we've done our research. We're not resting on our laurels here. We're doing our research. We're finding out army composition, how these men were armed. We're finding out weaknesses, strengths,
Yes, sir.
tendencies, everything, so that we can, when we discuss these battles, these potential battles between these generals, every single factor is taken care of.
Yes.
And yeah, as you can see, the time period's pretty vast. Like, we've got Scipio, Scipio from Republican Rome, 200s BC, against, someone in the Crusades, 1100s AD.
Yeah, talking from someone who lived around the end of the 12th century. This is going to be a very different sort of competition from what many people are used to. Definitely a difference in time periods as well as technology. But we're also going to be taking that into account. Don't you worry. We're not Death Battle.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're not Death Battle. We're not Deadliest Warrior and that bullshit. It's like, hey, here's a Bronze Age warrior versus a Steel Age warrior. Bronze Age warrior wins because fuck it, why not?
Let's just beat this dead pig.
Yeah.
Aye.
So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Are you excited for that, Shahob?
I'm pretty fucking excited, brother. Oh!
I'm so wet. Oh, wow. Yeah. So we'll probably get a third judge on for that panel. Maybe Lucas. Maybe we'll see. Just so we can, because we can't reach a draw.
No, this is something we cannot do.
Yeah. So yeah. All that being said, ooh.
Finish it off.
Oh yeah.
Eesh.
A little bit of vino.
A little bit of spillage there.
A little spillage. You know what? Speaking of spillage.
Wait.
You know what's a nice blade?
Oh, we're talking about weapons again?
The Killage.
The Killage?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a Turkish sword.
How do you spell it?
I believe it's called a Killage. K-I-L-I-C-H. Oh no, K-I-L-I-C. I could be wrong. I believe it's a Turkish cavalry sword.
We definitely need to edit this out so we don't... There's lots of silence here. We should edit this out.
Oh, whatever. Oh my god, Tanner Killage, international lawyer, is coming up.
Oh,
Civil
cool.
rights lawyer, advocate of Turkey. No, I'm thinking of the wrong name.
No, I think this is what you're talking about. That sword?
Yes, that's it. So it's this curved Turkish cavalry sword.
That's a pretty sweet sword.
It is, right? Speaking of which, I told you the reason why cavalry swords don't have a sharp point at the end, right?
Yeah, I remember. For those of you who don't know, the reason why cavalry swords don't have a sharp point at the end of them, partly for balance, because there's a lot of weight on top of them, but also because they didn't want the swords being stuck onto the horse when it's being drawn or when it's being swung around. So that's why the points on the edges of cavalry swords are smoothed over, turned to more curved. Yeah.
Even up until the American Civil War, you'd see swords with a curved point on the end.
Right.
Yeah, because you're bouncing around on a horse. You don't want to be knifing your fucking horse,
Exactly.
or your leg for that matter. Yeah. Plus, I mean, unless you've got a very, very long weapon, stabbing's just not going to be effective. That's why you've got cavalry lancers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another really cool weapon that I think is possibly one of the greatest things that Deadliest Warrior actually did manage to introduce is an African weapon. I can't remember exactly where it geographically belonged to or who the civilization it did belong to. But the weapon is...
Zulu.
No, not the Zulu. It was a weapon known as the Kapinga.
The Kapinga?
Yeah. Very interesting weapon because it basically has a metal cock and balls on it. And it was essentially designed as a throwing weapon as well as a killing weapon because it's definitely a unique weapon.
I'm going to look this up. That sounds like something...
Azande people. Interesting.
Kapinga weapon. That sounds like... Oh my god. Wow, that is menacing looking.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen these in the museum before. Kapinga, that sounds like something like an African Sheldon would say. Kapinga. By the way, that show is cancer embodied.
Oh, Big Bang Theory?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a big fan either.
That for me is a show that it's a dumb person's idea of what smart people are and how they interact.
Yes, actually. I'd imagine that's very much exactly what they were going for. The show is not necessarily about nerds. It's... I don't know. It's a weird thing.
It's what people think nerds are like.
Yeah.
As you can see, we're nothing like that. But
Dumb.
yeah, it's like, Sheldon, do you have a sense of humor? No. It's like, that's the entirety of the show. Brilliant.
You know, someone actually managed to put together a really great compilation of, well, I guess this is a sort of a thing that all sitcoms are guilty of. But someone managed to take certain episodes of The Big Bang Theory, or at least certain segments, and try to make their conversations... Rather, they took away the laugh track from all their conversations, and you just get to see how awkward and weird those massive gaps are.
And not funny.
They're not funny.
That's all a laugh track is, eh? It's like, look, these people are laughing. Cue the laughter. Laugh. It's funny. Mm-hmm. It's just like a cue for you to laugh. Yeah, and a lot of comedy just simply doesn't hold up without a laugh track.
Nope. The problem is that laugh tracks are basically the show's alternative, because it means that a show is so lazy that it can't be bothered to write jokes. So when it's time for you to laugh, they put in that laugh track and say, "Ha! Laugh, you sheep! Laugh, you fucking idiots!"
You have to be reminded that this.
Yeah, you have to be reminded that it's funny. Like, good lord, I hate shows like that.
It's funny. So a lot of the laugh tracks are the original ones that were used, right?
Yep.
In the early days of TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I found this fucking creepy. You're listening to a bunch of dead people laughing.
Essentially,
every time you hear a sitcom.
And you know what's the worst part is that there are actually some really brilliant shows that have come on air that are essentially sitcoms, you know, with the laugh track and everything. One of my favorite shows ever, Frasier. I love that show.
Never seen it.
Really, you should watch it. It's really good. And well, I mean, not remarkable, but it's definitely one of the more, I don't know, mentally challenging sort of shows. Like, you know, you're not just sitting there.
Mentally challenged show.
Challenging, you dick.
Frasier.
Jesus Christ.
Lawyers.
Please edit this out. Good lord.
No, they will see us in our real form.
Oh my god.
This isn't even our final form, ladies and gentlemen.
Didn't you once call yourself Super Saiyan? Like that was like your fighter name at some point?
I'm Dog of War. I don't know what you're talking about. But what do you think is one show that you've watched that you've gone back to? You watched as a kid. You had nostalgic memories, and then you went back to it, and it just didn't hold up.
Ooh. I don't know. That's a good question, though.
Yeah?
Because I don't know. A show that I watched when I was a kid.
Or a movie.
Or a movie.
It could be a movie.
Have you ever seen a movie called... You've seen the Mummy series before, right? Like The Mummy Returns, all that. Mm-hmm. I remember the second one. I really liked as a kid.
Me too.
I watched it again. It's a steaming pile of crap.
No, don't tell me it doesn't hold up.
It does not hold up.
Oh, man, I love that movie
It
as a kid.
does not hold up. Watch it again. The CGI is horrible, corny. The acting is terrible.
No.
They use the exact same, you know, like Indiana Jones style, you know, fling in the soundtrack, and it's just...
Shahob, don't do this to me, man.
It's abysmal.
I love that movie.
I loved it too. And then I watched it. I'm like, Jesus Christ. The best part of that movie is actually the first 5 minutes where you see The Rock in like this weird Hollywood idea of what ancient Egyptian armor looked like. And he's just like kicking ass and you're like, yeah, all right, go The Rock.
Oh, wait. Actually, I think I have... I think I've seen that scene at the end, that battle with where The Rock's the Scorpion King.
Yep, exactly that one.
Oh, man.
That's exactly the one.
That doesn't hold up.
Nope. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the CGI was just really, really
abysmal. It was horrible. And to think this movie actually came around the same time, if not a little later, than Lord of the Rings. And you're like, what the fuck happened? Like, what happened? Where did all that technology get lost?
Plus, Brendan Fraser is a discount Nicolas Cage.
Come on. I think he's a little more talented than that. Actually, no. Now that I think about it.
Nicolas Cage isn't a bad actor. He just...
has taken very weird roles.
He'll do any role for money. You know? So he becomes the Nickelback of acting.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. For one reason or another, I'm drawing a blank here on things that didn't hold up. Cartoons or movies.
I've seen some really good cartoons in my life. I guess we were blessed to be living in an age when cartoons were like the highest kind of medium, and they were all really awesome.
Oh yeah,
yeah, man. The late '90s, early 2000s, the best cartoons
the
ever.
Fucking bomb, man.
Hell yeah,
bomb. Cartoons today just don't hold a candle.
Not a candle. Teen Titans, what a great show! Remember that shit?
Teen Titans Go! Yeah.
None of the new shit. None of that Teen Titans Go bullshit.
Oh fuck that. Raven was my cartoon crush as a kid. I'm not gonna lie.
Starfire was mine.
Starfire, yeah.
Oh god, the things I would do to actual comic book grown up Starfire. Jesus Christ.
Comic book grown up Starfire? You liar! That you would do to teenage Starfire.
Never. She's a baby.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, Teen Titans was good. Pretty badass.
Justice League. DC kills it in the animation department almost consistently. Not really good movies, though, unfortunately.
What are you talking about? Suicide Squad was phenomenal. Suicide Squad was a great movie.
It was not.
Hi, Harley Quinn. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What is that, the scent of death?
Cue laugh track.
Oh, boy.
See, if that movie had a laugh track, it might have actually been good.
Yeah. I suppose so.
Oh,
really too bad about that movie. Of course, they for every Suicide Squad, they have a Wonder Woman. So, I mean, whatever.
Not redeeming enough.
I think it was really good. I thought Wonder Woman was better than every Iron Man movie.
I've never seen Wonder Woman, to be honest.
You haven't seen it?
No.
Are you kidding me? Oh, buddy.
Dude, I've been sheltered from cinemas lately.
I have to let you borrow it then. It's a really good movie.
I'm down, bro.
Yeah, buddy. It's a fucking remarkable movie. It's better than all of the Iron Man movies put together, and then some. I hate the Iron Man movies,
really?
to be entirely honest.
What about the first one? The first one was good.
First one was good, yeah, but it just, as far as like, see, the problem with Iron Man is that it is the one that essentially kickstarted the whole superhero craze that we're all currently in.
Okay.
And now that you've seen all the other movies, the first one doesn't compare. It just doesn't.
No.
And that's the problem. Like, as a movie, Iron Man does fine. As a superhero movie that's compared to every other superhero movies that have come out since, it's mediocre at best. Better than the second one, which was abysmal. I hated that movie.
Oh yeah.
Even when it came out, people were like, "Oh, what the greatest movie ever!" Of course, history as as time went on, people are like, "No." Nope.
Did see the second one? Is that the one with that redheaded chick? And
yep, exactly.
Someone else builds a suit.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember at the time I was a lot younger and being like, okay, that's okay. But probably if I went back to it, it would be abysmal. That would be one of those ones for me.
Yep. And the third one is, I don't even know where the fuck they were going with that one, but there it is. It exists. Good for them. And now they have a whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's awesome. And if you can exclude the Iron Man movies, the rest of it is just perfect. Like, you have 2 Captain America movies, which are awesome. Well, the 3 if you count Civil War. And the Thor movies are kind of a hit and miss as well. The first one wasn't great. Second one was even worse. Third one is the only one that I definitely consider good.
I can never forgive Marvel for recasting Spider-Man from Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man.
Mine too. Honestly, mine too. I like this new kid. I didn't like the other one before. What's his name?
Dude, I just refuse to watch any Spider-Man without Tobey Maguire in it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I have an ardent, it's almost a religious belief that Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man. I don't want to get an image in my head of anyone else as Spider-Man. It's like, no, he's typecasted. That's fucking Spider-Man right there. Like, Spider-Man is a living meme.
Oh, I love his blubbery cry face. I love it. Oh my god.
Yell, that iconic.
No! I love that guy so much.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't understand. Is Spider-Man's a fucking dork. He's supposed to be a dork. He's a dork who got powers.
Exactly. My god, I hate the Andrew Garfield version of that character because it's just another douchebag, and now he gets to be Spider-Man.
One Direction Spider-Man.
Yeah, essentially. Oi. The guy's a great actor. I saw him in Hacksaw Ridge. I thought it was a great movie. I thought he was great in it. But no, as Spider-Man, he was just I fucking hated it. I hated it.
All right, we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back in 1 second.
Thank you.
That's it! I warned you once! Get out of me, Tavern! Get out! Get out!
Americans, who's no boy in the week, waarin je heel best rieken. Snaars, is nieuws naar de woord. Het is niet voor je weer roven. Er is nog meer van je in de Ja, maar hier, vingers nou aan, nou.